Welcome! Join us as we improve your English through the power of storytelling. Each story is carefully crafted to help you learn new words and enjoy the journey of language learning. Today's story is called The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Listen carefully, enjoy the tale, and discover new English expressions along the way. Let's begin. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. In a small village at the edge of a great forest, there lived a young shepherd boy named Peter. Every day, Peter's job was to take the village sheep to the hillside to graze. It was his responsibility to watch over them and keep them safe from danger. Peter was only 12 years old, and he found his job very boring. Day after day, he sat on the hillside watching the sheep eat grass. There was nothing to do, no one to talk to. Just endless hours of watching sheep. The village was far below. Peter could see the people moving about their daily work. The blacksmith hammered iron. The baker made bread. The farmers worked in their fields. Everyone seemed busy and important. But Peter felt lonely and forgotten on his hill. "Why must I have such a dull job?" Peter complained to himself. "Nothing ever happens here. I wish something exciting would occur, just once." One day, as Peter sat feeling particularly bored, a thought came to him. A mischievous thought, an idea that made him smile. What if, Peter thought, I pretended there was danger? What if I called for help? Then all the villagers would come running up the hill. That would be exciting. And it would be funny to see them rush around for nothing. The more Peter thought about this idea, the more he liked it. Before he could change his mind, he jumped to his feet and began shouting at the top of his lungs. "Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is attacking the sheep! Help! Help!" His voice echoed down the hillside and into the village below. Immediately the villagers heard his cries. They dropped their tools and grabbed their sticks and weapons. The men ran up the hill as fast as they could, huffing and puffing. "Where is the wolf?" they shouted. "Where is it, Peter?" But when they reached the top of the hill, there was no wolf. The sheep were grazing peacefully. Peter was laughing so hard he could barely stand. "There is no wolf," Peter giggled. "I was just joking. You should have seen your faces. You all looked so worried." The villagers were not amused. They had left their important work. They had run all the way up the steep hill. They were tired and angry. "That was not funny, Peter," said the blacksmith sternly. "We thought you were in real danger." "You should not lie about such things," said the baker. "A wolf is serious business. Do not call for help unless you really need it," warned Peter's father. "Lying is wrong, and it wastes everyone's time." The villagers walked back down the hill, shaking their heads and muttering unhappily. But Peter just laughed. He thought it was hilarious, and the excitement had made his boring day much more interesting. A few days passed. Once again, Peter grew bored. The sheep were peaceful. The day was quiet. Peter remembered how exciting it had been when all the villagers came running up the hill. Maybe I should do it again, Peter thought. It was so funny last time, and they probably forgot about it by now. So once again, Peter stood up and began shouting, "Wolf! Wolf! The wolf is back! Help me! The wolf is attacking the sheep!" Once again, the villagers heard his cries. Even though some of them were suspicious, they could not take the risk. What if there really was a wolf this time? They grabbed their weapons and ran up the hill. "Where's the wolf, Peter?" they demanded, breathing heavily from the climb. Peter burst out laughing. "There is no wolf! I tricked you again! I cannot believe you fell for it twice!" This time the villagers were very angry. Their faces turned red with frustration. "This is not a game," Peter's father shouted. "You are wasting our time and energy. If you lie again, we will not come to help you," warned the blacksmith. "You are being foolish and irresponsible," said the baker. The villagers stormed back down the hill. They were disappointed in Peter and angry at themselves for being tricked twice. Peter watched them go, still laughing, still thinking it was all just harmless fun. Several more days passed. Peter continued his boring job of watching the sheep. He thought about calling for help again, but he decided the villagers might be too angry. He would wait a while longer. Then one afternoon, as Peter sat daydreaming under a tree, he heard a sound. It was a low growling sound that made his blood run cold. Peter's eyes snapped open. He looked around frantically. There, at the edge of the forest, stood a large gray wolf. It was real. Its yellow eyes gleamed hungrily as it stared at the sheep. The wolf began creeping slowly toward the flock, its body low to the ground. Peter's heart pounded with terror. This was not a joke. This was not a game. There was a real wolf, and the sheep were in real danger. "Wolf!" Peter screamed with genuine fear in his voice. "Wolf! Help! Please help! There is a wolf! A real wolf this time! Please believe me, the wolf is here!" Peter screamed and screamed until his throat was raw. His cries echoed down to the village just as they had before. In the village, people heard Peter's shouts, but this time they did not move. They did not grab their weapons. They did not run up the hill. "It is just Peter playing his silly games again," said the blacksmith, continuing his work. "That boy needs to learn a lesson," said the baker, kneading his dough. "We will not be fooled a third time," said the other villagers, shaking their heads. No one came to help. No one believed Peter. They all thought he was lying again. On the hillside, the wolf attacked. It scattered the sheep in all directions. Some sheep ran away and got lost in the forest. Others were injured by the wolf's sharp teeth. Peter tried to fight the wolf with his shepherd's staff, but he was too small and too frightened. The wolf was too strong. By the time the wolf finally left, much damage had been done. Many sheep were gone. Several were hurt. Peter was scratched and bruised from trying to protect them. Slowly, sadly, Peter gathered the remaining sheep and led them back to the village. His father saw him coming and rushed out to meet him. "Peter, what happened? You are hurt. Where are the rest of the sheep?" "There was a wolf, father," Peter said, tears streaming down his face. "A real wolf. I called for help, but no one came. No one believed me because I lied before. I am so sorry. This is all my fault." Peter's father looked at his son with sadness and disappointment. "Yes, Peter, this is your fault. You lied for fun, and now you have learned a terrible lesson. When you tell lies, people stop believing you. Even when you tell the truth, they will not trust your words." The whole village gathered around to see what had happened. They saw the missing sheep. They saw Peter's tears. They understood the lesson he had learned. "A liar is not believed, even when he speaks the truth," said the wise old woman of the village. "Trust is precious, Peter. It takes a long time to build, but it can be destroyed in an instant. Your lies destroyed the villagers' trust in you. Now you must work very hard to earn it back." Peter nodded, his heart heavy with regret and shame. He had thought lying was harmless fun. He had thought it was just a game. But now he understood the serious consequences of dishonesty. From that day forward, Peter never told another lie. He worked hard to prove he could be trusted. He was always honest, always reliable, always truthful. It took many months, but slowly, the villagers began to trust him again. Peter never forgot the lesson he learned that terrible day. He never forgot the sight of the real wolf, or the sound of his own voice calling for help that would not come. He never forgot how it felt to lose people's trust because of his own foolish lies. And whenever he was tempted to tell even a small lie, he remembered the wolf, and he chose honesty instead.